All right, good morning. How's everybody today? Good. All right, before we get to our projects on Macbeth and working on answer the essential question that we have over there, we're going to go online today and start setting up a few things and review a few things before we get to that project, since it will be a digital project. All right, so I asked everybody to go to prezi.com. Is everybody there? All right, now you need the handout that's in front of you, top page. I need you to read along with me silently while I read it aloud. This is basically going to be about the importance of creating a secure password. And then we are going to set up an account and we're going to work on creating a secure password. A strong password and username are crucial for online security as they act as the primary barrier protecting your personal information from unauthorized access by hackers, essentially acting like a digital lock on your online accounts, preventing anyone from accessing sensitive data like financial details, emails, or personal files unless they have the correct credentials. Making a strong password and unique username significantly reduces the risk of cyber breaches and identity theft. Has anybody been in a situation where you've gotten a notification that your account has been hacked? Or had any of your social media taken over? Anything? Nobody's had that happen? I had my Facebook page taken over and I had to go in, change my password, try to make it something that was super secure. It does happen, and sometimes it happens and you don't even know that it's happened. All right, key points about strong passwords and usernames. Prevent unauthorized access. A strong password is difficult to guess, making it harder for hackers to gain access to your accounts. Data protection. By safeguarding your login credentials, you protect sensitive personal information stored online. Reduces vulnerability to attacks. Using common words or personal details in your password significantly increases the risk of a successful hacking attempt. So, here's some things you should not do. Should you include your birth date as your password? No, because if somebody steals your information and they got your birthday, well, they're going to start there. They're going to start with your birth date. They're going to start with your first name, your middle initial, your first initial, your middle name, your first name, your last name, your birth date, birth year. They're going to run a ton of combinations just with your basic information, your name and your birth date. That's why you should never, ever use it as a password. Because hackers have time to go through and try to figure all this out. And they will. Sometimes they just have, software that will just sit there and do it automatically until it hits and gets into your accounts. So that's why you never use personal identifying information as a part of your password. All right, reduces. Have I already read reduces vulnerability to attacks? Yeah. Okay, yes I did. Let me go to the next one. Sorry about that. Unique for each account. Avoiding using the same password across multiple platforms to minimize damage if one account is compromised. All right, so here's what that means. It is very tempting to use the same password that you know by heart on many or all of your accounts. But the first thing a hacker is going to do is if they get that one password right, they're going to start trying it on everything else in your life. Your bank accounts, your credit cards, your social media, Netflix, all the stuff that you use, they're going to start trying it. And, raise your hand if you have a password that you've used for several things. I mean, I readily admit I have. See, look, almost everybody in here. Is that a good idea? No, we're all being very foolish, and we probably should fix that, shouldn't we? But it's very tempting to do that, but if you want to use a similar password, you need to find a way to vary it up so that it's familiar a little bit, but it's extremely different at the same time. And that can be hard to do. All right, so what constitutes a strong password? Length. Longer passwords are harder to crack. Yes, it's a pain in the butt, but it makes it harder for someone to get in. Complexity. A mix of uppercase and lowercase letters, numbers, and special characters. Avoid common patterns. Don't use birthdays, pet names, or easily guessable words. Like, please don't use password as your password. Don't use 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Those are things that they're also going to immediately try because those are things that people commonly use because it's easy and quick to remember. How to choose a good username. Not easily identifiable. Avoid using your full name, address, or other personal details. Unique. Choose a username that is not commonly used by others. All right, so the second page is about the crack test and identifying credible sources, and we'll get to that in just a second. All right, so I asked you to go to Prezi.com. The reason I asked you to go there is it will be one of the options that you can use to create your digital project. Has anybody used Prezi before? No? Well, good. That's something else new for you to learn. It's very similar to Google Slides and PowerPoint with several additional features, and it's a completely online platform. It allows for really neat transitions and animations, and it'll be one of the options that you can use when you're doing your project. All right, so up here, it says get started. So everybody click get started. And it's going to ask you to create an account. So basically what I want you to do is I want you to create a unique username that follows the criteria set forth on the first page. That means no personal identifying information, no birth dates, no pet names, nothing that connects directly to you. Nothing that a hacker could find with your information to try to attempt to use it as a username or password. I highly recommend that you write it down at the bottom of the front page so that you don't forget, so that you can use it. Yes, ma'am?
Mine says the site can't be reached when I push get started. Let's just try to open it again.
Hit reload, it's an internet issue. If it still won't work, you can log in on the computer behind you and still do the activity with us. I'm not really sure why it's doing that. Anyway, but you can log in on one of the desktop computers, and that way you can still complete the process with us. Okay, so be sure to write your username and password on there so that you can go back to this to use it for your projects should you choose to. If you don't know what special characters are, we have the ampersand, you have like plus and minus signs, you have underscore, hyphens, you have the @ symbol. There's all kinds of symbols that you can put into your password. For occupation, put that you're a student. Yes, ma'am. Okay, so of course your first name is going to be your first name. Your last name, and then you're going to use your email. Use your personal email. You can use your school email if you want to. That certainly doesn't have any necessarily identifying stuff. I would use your personal email. That's what I would do. It doesn't matter. So I guess your username is done for you.
Uses your first and last name.
Oh, how nice of them. So for this, what's really gonna matter the most is the password. Now, here's what I use for passwords. I'll go on and tell you. I use insect names. Black widow, brown recluse, millipede, centipede, insects. Insect names, those are all my passwords. Because there's an infinite amount of insects and all kinds of stuff, and that's what I use. I know that seems strange, but it's the most unique thing I can think of. Everybody just look up here when you're done. We'll have to come back to this. What I will do, as soon as we finish Act 3, I will go back into Prezi and provide you more information on how to use this website. We'll also talk about, you can always go onto YouTube, and they have tutorials on how to use this, but it's very user-friendly and not that difficult. But it's just another option that you have to create a presentation beyond PowerPoint, beyond Google Slides, which I don't want you to use those things this time because you're too familiar with those. Beyond Canva, those kinds of things. All right, is everybody ready to move on? Everybody write down their username and password on your handouts, because you might need it later. You're going to need it later if you choose to use Prezi. All right, the next thing I want to talk about is identifying credible sources. So today what we are going to learn about is the CRAP test. Isn't that a great name? Like, you gotta figure out if the website is crappy or not. Let's see, how can we make this full screen? Alright, so this is the poster for this, but you also have it on the second page of your handout, so let's read through this. This is a process that as you're doing research for your digital project to find the criteria that I've asked you to find and answering our essential question, you will apply this test to your sources to make sure that you are choosing a website that is credible and reliable. All right, what is the CRAP test? The CRAP test is a litmus test to determine whether a source is, well, you know, whether it's any good or not. The acronym stands for currency, relevance, authority, accuracy, and purpose. Currency is the information timely. I would not use any source that's older than 5 to 10 years old, because you're getting into a situation where the source that you're trying to use, the information is not accurate, possibly not accurate, it's not up to date, and it might not be relevant anymore. So, you know, I would stay within the last 5 to 10 years. In your college classes, when you head on to college, that's going to be a requirement. Most of the time when they tell you to find a scholarly journal or article, they're gonna want it to be within the last decade or 10 years, at least. Sometimes they narrow it down even more to the last 5 years, and you have to meet that criteria. And when you go look at the article, you should be able to find the author and the date of publication. If you can't find those two things, do y'all think it's a credible source? No. So you gotta be very careful and make sure you can find that. All right, is the information timely? Is it out of date? Does it matter for what you're researching? Has the information been updated since it was published? Relevance, is the source directly related to your topic? Who is the intended audience? Does it meet the needs of your work? Authority, is the author qualified to write on this topic? What are their credentials that make them an expert? All right, credentials. So you can look at credentials in two ways. One, do they have like PhD or their degree information after their name? Do they have information that explains what they're an expert in? Are they a professor or a teacher at a school or college? What is making them an expert? Second way that you find their credentials is for any scholarly article or journal and some websites. When you scroll to the end of the article, do they have a set of references that back up the information that they presented on that page? If they don't have any references, if they don't have any credentials, is that a credible source? No. I'm not saying that the information on that page is wrong, but it might not be credible. And since we don't have the information to prove that it's credible, we don't have credentials, then we probably should not use it. All right, authority. Is the author qualified to write on this topic? Once again, that's credentials. Accuracy. Is the information supported by evidence? Can you find information from more than one source? Is the writing professional? If there are a bunch of grammatical errors in the writing, do you think that's credible? No, it's not. Evidence. Do they have examples in their paragraph? Do they cite studies that were conducted? Do they have data? Do they have, like if we're researching on Macbeth, do they have some type of textual evidence from Macbeth to back up what they're saying? Like, you're gonna research theme. What is one of the overarching themes in Macbeth? Which is Macbeth's tragic flaw. What is his tragic flaw? Ambition. So if we turn that into a universal theme, the theme could be, and sometimes ambitious can drive us to do things, to do terrible things. And that's one of the themes. We can also look at greed in Lady Macbeth and her hunger for power. So if that website's not talking about those things or not talking about the themes in Macbeth, should you use it? No, because it doesn't apply to what you're trying to write about. We're also working to answer the essential question. What are the tell me the activity that Macbeth does to control things. Yeah, he commits a lot of murders. That's the ways that he attempts to control the future and bury the past. So you're gonna answer that as well. If your sources do not help you do that, should you use them? No, they don't support what you're trying to do. If the author doesn't appear qualified, you should not use it. They don't have any credentials. If they don't have any references or works cited information, don't use it. All right, purpose. What is the purpose of the information? Is it to inform, teach, sell, entertain, or to persuade? Is the information presented as fact or opinion? If you go to a site on Macbeth, researching theme and trying to answer your essential question, if they put their opinion all the way through it and use first person pronouns, should you use it? No, because it's their opinion. We don't want their opinion. We want accurate, factual, text-based information on Macbeth to use as our sources. We don't want their opinion. So you want to avoid places like that. All right, does anybody have any questions about this? Okay, so don't lose this handout because you're going to apply it. I'll also put this poster in our Schoology group as well. All right, let's get out of here. Now we're gonna move on to plagiarism. That next on my list? Yes, that is on my list. All right, so I have a short little video that we're going to watch. I really feel like by 12th grade, we all know what plagiarism is. Braylon, what's plagiarism?
Creating copies of the word for word.
Yes, so copying, pasting from a website, is that plagiarism? Writing down textual evidence from a source without putting in quotation marks, without putting title or author, without properly citing that. Is that plagiarism? Yes, it is. When you head off to college, plagiarism, I mean, it's a big deal all the way around no matter where you attempt to do it. But when you go to college, it can cause you to fail a class, at the very least. At the very least, you're gonna get a 0 on the assignment, and you don't wanna do that. Plagiarism is just a big no-no. Bradley, what are two strategies we can use in our writing to avoid plagiarism?
Put things in quotation marks and citing your sources.
Yes, those are the 2 ways. Direct quotes, introducing the selection with title and author with those direct quotes, using the author's name, and using in-text citations. Now, for our projects, since we're still kind of learning how to do in-text citations, the #1 thing I'm going to be concerned with is your work cited. At the end of your presentation or at the bottom, depending on what platform you choose to use, the #1 thing I'm going to want to see is, do you have your sources cited in APA 7th edition? That means the first line is to the far left margin, the second 2 lines are hanging indented. And if you don't know how to do that, I will show you how to do that. It's very easy. You just go into settings and do certain things. The second thing I will show you how to do is how to do an in-text citation, which involves author or authors, comma, and the date. You put in parentheses at the end of the first place that you use that information. But we will review how to do that, but you must avoid plagiarism at all costs. And I know it kind of stretches your brains to paraphrase. You know, sometimes it's easier to use direct quotes, and then the hard part is just the explanation. But paraphrasing can also be difficult because you can't just change a few words. If it's still in the same order and it means almost exactly the same thing as the source, well, that still can possibly be considered plagiarism. So when you plagiarize, not only do you have to put it in your own words, but it cannot sound similar to the original information. It can mean the same, but it can't sound the same or be in the same structure, if that makes sense. Any questions on that? All right, we're gonna watch this quick video. It's kind of humorous. I liked it, but it will help clear any misconceptions up on plagiarism.
I'm afraid some of you may have relaxed too much and didn't actually write your own papers. In fact, I believe a certain few of you took almost everything right off the internet.
Worried you might be him? Then you should definitely keep watching. Hi, I'm Jessica from Scripper, here to help you achieve your academic goals. Plagiarism is when you use someone else's words or ideas without crediting the source and pass it as your own. It's okay to use others' words and ideas, but you have to cite them. Committing plagiarism might save you time for a short while, but it comes at a high price. Depending on your institution's rules and the type of plagiarism, you might fail your course or even get suspended or expelled from your university. And no one wants that, right? Let's talk about 5 types of plagiarism you might encounter. Although they differ in severity, it's still not acceptable to commit any kind of plagiarism. And plagiarism checkers like Turnitin can detect all of them very easily. Verbatim plagiarism, also known as copy and paste plagiarism, as its name suggests, is when you directly copy and paste text from a source without citing the author. If you want to use an author's exact words, you need to quote the original source by putting it in quotation marks and include an in-text citation. Check out our video on how to quote. Imagine a patchwork. You take different pieces of cloth and make it into a whole. That's exactly what patchwork or mosaic plagiarism is. You copy phrases and ideas from different sources and put them together to create a new text. In order to piece the different texts together nicely, this kind of plagiarism often includes some paraphrasing. It also requires a little more effort than the rest. So if you're already putting in the effort anyways, might as well completely avoid it. If you need a little help on paraphrasing, I got you. Click this video here. Paraphrasing plagiarism is the most common type of plagiarism, so pay extra attention. It's completely okay to paraphrase, but just because you rewrote it in your own words doesn't make the idea yours. So remember to give credit and cite the original source. Global plagiarism is when you take someone else's work entirely and use it as your own. That includes if you find a text online and submit it as your own, but also if you get someone to write your essay for you, like her.
But this is the exact same paper, word for word, that you can buy for $15 on turnpaper.com. It even has the same title and footnotes.
Maybe they copied my paper.
This is one of the most serious type of plagiarism, as it involves deliberately and directly lying about the authorship of a work. So don't even think about it. You can also commit plagiarism by reusing the work you've previously submitted. This is called self-plagiarism. So no turning in a paper you've already submitted for another class or recycling ideas developed from previous assignments. Just because it's your own work, it still counts as academic dishonesty because you've already gotten credit for the work. Woo! Now you're ready to move on to how to avoid plagiarism. Click this video here. But before you go, don't forget to drop a like and subscribe. I'll see you there.
All right, does everybody understand that last one? Self-plagiarism? Yes, it counts. I'll give you an example. In the class that I'm taking now, the professor did have to come in because all of us in this class have already taken a technology and education class with the same professor. She did post an announcement that we are not allowed to use work pieces or assignments previously completed in the other class. And she didn't state it in there, she just made sure we understood that we can't do that. But if I had done that, if I had recycled an assignment there, because a lot of the assignments that I'm doing, like this lesson and all this kind of stuff, I already did it in the other class. It's different, but I did it. I can't use it again because that's considered self-plagiarism. That includes any essays that you've written, all of it. Okay, so you can't even use your old work. And I know it seems crazy because like that's my work, you know, why is it self-plagiarism? As they point out in the video, you've already received credit for it, and those are old ideas, not new ones. So that's why you can't do it. Does anybody have any questions? All right, so the next thing I want to show you before we go back into Macbeth, is one of your options is going to be to create a newsletter or newspaper. And if you go into Canva, now I'm not going to talk about logging in or signing up for Canva because it's part of our school system, and you just use your Google login to go into Canva and those kinds of things. And I know almost all of you have experience with Canva, but if you just look up newspaper templates, there's all kinds of templates that you can use. And if you use Canva, I would like you to use one of these just because it's something different. Instead of making a poster and all that kind of stuff, you can use one of these templates. You can find pictures that you need to find on the internet, and I will show you how to cite your pictures, because you can't just pull a picture from the internet, stick it in an assignment without without giving the source credit. And I'll show you how to do that. Sometimes when you go find that a picture, it will already have a citation there that tells you where they got it from, and you can go back and use it as an in-text citation, but I will show you how to do that as well. But I just wanted to show these to you so when you get to your project, you kind of know what you're looking for. So you'll have the option of using Prezi, or you can use Canva, but I would like you not to use PowerPoint and Google Slides for this. If there's another platform that you'd like to use that does some of these similar things, please bring the website to me, let me take a look at it, and then I'll give you a yes or no on that. Because I'm open to creativity, and I know that Prezi and Canva are not the only places that you can create these kinds of things. All right, y'all have any questions for me? All right, get your books. Let's see how far, well, we're not gonna be able to get into Act 3 today. We will get into Act 3 tomorrow. All right, thank you guys, y'all did great.